What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back. Hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Power Book 2, Season 1, Episode 8. How many episodes we had? Because I'm telling y'all, they try me. Every week, they try me. So it's homecoming weekend, okay? It's homecoming weekend, and Tariq and Braden, they got their re-up, but it's half. It's not... They still are short, and Braden is like, yo, what's going on? It is homecoming weekend. We about to make a killing. He was like, you know how we could really make a killing? We could really make a killing if we could get into this cocaine. And, you know, Tariq was like, I'm not doing coke. It's too hot. We're not doing that. Like, you know, that's too much. And Braden was like, yeah, but we could really, you know, really make a killing on it. So we get to class, and I ain't spending a whole lot of time on this. All the people there with their parents, and you know, you got, you know, the bougie parents, you got the hood parents, and you got Tariq with no parents at all. So they were talking about people telling the truth, and Tariq was saying how, you know, people telling the truth. The reality is nobody really wants to know the truth because the truth can hurt, and people don't really want that. People want to hear what they want to hear. So Tariq turns in his paper to Jabari. And Jabari is still convinced that Carrie is sleeping with him, with Tariq. So he's trying to get Tariq. He's talking about something, you know, I appreciate the paper and everything, but, you know, I still feel like there's something you're not sharing. I still feel like it's something you're not telling us. Like, what is it? How can we help you? And Tariq was like, nah, I'm good, bro. Like, we good. Later on, we see Jabari meeting up with his publisher. His publisher is like, yo, this is good. This is taking us back to, like, your first book, but we need the rest of it. How does it end? And, of course, Jabari don't know how it ends because Jabari ain't write the damn first half of the book. So he was like, well, you know, I don't know yet. Well, he tried to play it off and was like, well, you know, you'll find out later. You can't know yet. And he was like, you don't even know, do you? He said, well, listen, I'm excited about it, but the publishers are going to want to know how it ends. The publishers are going to want to know the ending. So you need to go ahead and figure that out. So, of course, that's putting pressure on him to try to get the rest of his book. How you going to finagle Tariq to finish writing your damn book? Now, 2-Bit, and I owe somebody an apology. I think I was having a conversation about Power over on Stereo, over the app Stereo, and he was talking about 2-Bit, and I said, Two-Bit ain't coming back. We ain't gonna see 2-Bit. He done. Damn if we didn't. 2-Bit is back, and he goes to see Spanky's mom, and of course it's his own guilt, which is played by my girl Lunel. Now, of course, it's his own guilt that's taking him over there, and she sort of suspects like something went down. Because she said word on the street is that Spanky was a snitch, and you know my son wasn't no snitch, and who would say that? And 2-Bit was like, I know, I heard the same thing, but don't worry, I'm gonna you know, I'm gonna find out who did that to Spanky. I got him. You did it to Spanky, and Tommy did it to, okay. So he slid her some money, you know, but he was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the vengeance. Now, Mr. Basketball player, he done went to go see Carrie, right? And of course, he calling her by her first name and everything. And she was like, listen, first of all, you can't just be popping up in my office, and you damn sure can't be calling me by my first name. Like, I'm going to need you to figure out, like, play your position. Here's the problem. That's what happens when you sleep with a 19-year-old. They think like a 19-year-old. He's fucking 19. 20, maybe at the most. But he's talking about how nervous he is because they got the homecoming game. It's going to be on ESPN. They're going to have all kinds of scouts there, and how nervous he is about the whole thing going down. So after class is over, Tariq is headed back to his room. He runs into Lauren and her family. They invite him to lunch. He goes to his room. Lauren goes to the room with him, and she's asking him about the other night. Now, he just manages to talk his way out of it and say, listen, you had just broke up with your boyfriend. I didn't want to be the asshole that came onto you at your moment of weakness. And she was like, well, why didn't you just say that? Just in that moment, because she's softening up. She was ready to accept it. And just at that moment, who come knocking at the door? Damn, Elsie. Y'all remember Elsie? I thought we wasn't going to hear from her ass again either. So Elsie asked, knocking at the door, because remember, she goes to Yale, and she says she's in town because it's homecoming weekend, and she there to make some money. She's there to sell some stuff and make some money. Now, Two-Bit just happens to run up on Lauren and her family while they having a whole argument about why Lauren broke up with her boyfriend in the first place. And he asked about where the freshman dorms are, and she was like, well, you look like you too young to be somebody's daddy. Lauren, that's not your business. What? He said, oh, well, I'm here to see my little cousin Tariq. Tariq St. Patrick, yeah. She was like, oh, well, his dorm is up the street, round the corner, to the left, third floor, second door on your right. I was like, well, damn, how you just gonna give up all the information? So, of course, Two-Bit finds Tariq. And he rolls up on Tariq and was like, yo, your daddy owe me some money. Now, mind you, he is sitting there wearing Ghost's Rolex watch. Go pawn and sell that shit. I bet you that's whatever Ghost owe you. So you really sitting here trying to collect the debt on a dead man? Like, for real? So he has a gun to Tariq's head talking about something. Your daddy owe me a debt and you need to pay it. You got to pay it today. Tariq was like, I don't have no damn money. What are you talking about? He was like, I know you feel like he left us a whole bunch of money, but I'm broke. He was like, yeah, whatever. Give me my money and I want it. He was like, matter of fact, I'll give you 24 hours. Now, mind you, throughout this whole conversation, he ain't never tell Tariq how much he owe. He just told Tariq, you owe me and I need it by tomorrow. Can I find out how much you owe? What's the debt for? What my daddy do? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this was so crazy to me. Like, this part, I was like, this is ridiculous. So Tariq calls up the lawyer and actually is like, I need an advance because, there's somebody coming after me that say that, my daddy owe them. And he was like, oh, well, if they're threatening you, you need to call the police. Like, that lawyer was so unbothered by the whole situation. And Tariq was like, well, no, it's not like that, but he's threatening to sue us. He was like, oh, well, if he sue, you're going to give him my phone number. He said, but basically, your father's will was very clear. You need to graduate college with a 3.5 or higher, and you get your money. He was like, and Tariq was like, well, I can't get an advance. Like, I'm doing good. My grades are good. Like, I'm doing the best I can, but, I need to take care of this. And he was like, well, for the exception of that paper you failed in nautical studies. Tariq was like, you keeping tabs on me? So you know that Tariq is in college, studying, doing all, all of his grades. You know everything that's going on with Tariq, but you don't know he's selling drugs. You don't know he just started this whole app. Like, I'm just like, a whole lot of information that I don't know how you know. But whatever. That was petty. That was just a petty moment. So, Tariq calls his mama. And he gets advice from her. And he was basically like, how do you get somebody to trust you that you can't trust? Like, basically, he's talking about Elsie. Like, listen, she betrayed me once. I really don't trust her, but I kind of need something from her. So, how do I convince her? How do I trust her? How do I convince her that that I've forgiven her so that she'll work with me and I get what I need? And she was like, oh, that's easy. The way I got your dad to trust me again was I convinced him that, I got him to trust me. And I convinced him basically that I was there. I was down for him. I was back in his corner. So Tariq ends up calling Elsie and he basically talks to her about partnering up, splitting the money in half, selling the drugs on campus and splitting the money in half. Now, I have no idea why in the world Elsie would agree to this because she was already on campus. She already had the product. She didn't need him. But he ends up breaking down for her basically who she needs to focus on, where she needs to sell the drugs, who she needs to be looking for. But I'm thinking, if you that big and bold and bad of a drug dealer that you brought your ass all the way to a whole nother campus with a bag full of drugs, I feel like you didn't need that from Tariq. But neither here nor there. They agreed to split the money in half. Now, here's another example of Ghost, Tommy, Tariq, Brayden. Because Brayden wanted to sell coke. Tariq said no until he needed to sell coke. And then when Brayden asked him about it, Tariq act like I'm getting ahead of myself. But the secrets that Ghost used to keep from Tommy, Tariq doing the same thing with Brayden. Anyway, him and Elsie end up having sex, child. And later on that night, Tariq is out and Jabari is following Tariq's ass around campus. He follows Tariq, he thinks that Carrie called Tariq, whatever, because Tariq's phone rings and he answered it, so it must have been Carrie calling him. He follows Tariq to some little no-tell motel where Drew is there, and Tariq and Drew basically make the exchange. So I feel like Jabari has figured out that Tariq is doing something nefarious, whether he's selling drugs or whatever. And I feel like he heard enough of the conversation that he heard the words course correct, right? I feel like he heard the words course correct. I don't know. But anyway, him and Drew had a whole conversation in the doorway of this no-tell motel about their whole drug business, about course correct, and you got this and you got that. They made the whole exchange out in the open in the doorway. Why the hell wouldn't you go inside of the damn room, close the door, make the exchange, have your conversation, and then let Tariq go about his business? But whatever. Neither here nor there. Why is Jabari following Tariq around? And how did Jabari just happen to end up in the same place where Tariq St. Patrick was walking across campus? Like, y'all doing way too much with this shit. We see Brayden with his family because, of course, again, it's family weekend. Mama getting drunk. Daddy, talking about all the women he got with when he was in college. And Brayden's brother is high as a kite. They done got a hold of some coke. Brayden was like, where the hell did y'all get coke from? The sister was like, oh, well, somebody was on campus selling it, and it was what it was. And Brayden is thinking that they have some competition. Brayden is thinking that somebody is on campus, selling to their people. Now, here's the other thing. Did y'all ever fucking get y'all money from your brother? Like, y'all talking about that y'all don't have no product. Your brother stole all of it. Did you ever get your money from the brother? Like, who does that? What drug dealer just let somebody steal from them? What do you... Anyway, Kane has come up with this great plot to kill Tariq, right? At the basketball game, I guess Tariq had already been playing, that Tariq was going to join them to watch the game, join Monet and them to watch the game. And so he's with the GTG, crew, and they got one of their dudes dressing up like he's somebody at the game. He got the whole face paint on and the big afro and everything. And he going in there with his shank. Because, of course, he got to get through the metal detectors. So a shank will get through the metal detectors. And, Kane is linked back up with the GTG crew. The people that Monet cut off. They had that whole big fight, argument situation that night that Drew and them almost got arrested and stuff. And so Kane was like, listen, this is your way back in. Like, we got to get rid of Tariq because that's the reason why she stopped messing with you. And she trying to make Tariq her number 2 like I'm her number 2 or number 1, whatever. And so we got to get Tariq out of the picture and I'll get y'all back on. So, and I guess they described Tariq, or they identify him by his sneakers, right? And while this is going on, Tariq is on his way to the game, and 2-Bit is texting him like, yo, where's my money? And so they setting up the meet. They're going to meet up at the game. And he's still with Elsie ass, and she trying to set up a late night, will meet up with me later, blah, blah, blah. So he's supposed to meet up with her after the game, right? So on the way to the game, Carrie meets up with basketball player, and Monet roll up. Listen, this is what I'm talking about how Mary J. Blige plays that character one way. She doesn't show, there's no softness, there's no emotion, there's no nothing. She rolls up on him, and he introduces her as his professor, and she nasty with Carrie, talking about something. Are you the one that put him on academic probation? And she was like, you should be very proud of him. She was like, I am. And I was like, it's just nothing. She's just playing this character so one-dimensional. Like, she has one emotion, just anger. Like, there's nothing soft about this woman. Anyway, she done bought the boy a Rolex watch before he even played the damn game, talking about how proud she is of him, and this, and this, and that, and that, and whatever. So, of course, he ends up having the best game in his life. I'm not getting into that drama. Tariq is there at the game. He's supposed, he's texting back and forth with 2-Bit where they're gonna meet up. Tariq, and the dude finds Tariq. He got his eye on Tariq. He identified him by the sneakers. He got his eye on him. And Tariq went to go sit with the family. And he gets the text from Two Bit that they're supposed to meet by the concession stand or whatever. So Tariq makes an excuse to go leave, whether he go to go to the concession stand. And Kanan know that old boy is in the game, and old boy about he gonna make his move when he gonna go get Tariq. So Tariq realizes that this dude is following him. Like, he peeped that the guy's following him. So Tariq ends up texting Two Bit telling him to meet him by the pool. Changing location, meet me by the pool. So Two Bit, I don't know how the hell he knew how to get to the pool in a place he never been before, but okay then, I guess it was signs. And Tariq ends up, the dude following Tariq, they end up running. Tariq runs to the pool. They get to fighting and tussling. Dude is on top of Tariq, really about to get Tariq. And Two Bit comes up behind him, hits him up over the head with one of the poles that was in the pool. And Tariq was like, yo, thank you, whatever. He was like, he good. Basically, we gonna leave him like that. And Two Bit was like, no, the fuck we not. Two Bit ends up killing the dude. He drowns him, he kills him, he pushes him in the pool. And Tariq, so then Two Bit tells him, he was like, so Tariq gives him this money. It's like, basically, our business is concluded. Two Bit was like, no, it's not. Like, that's extra. Like, I just saved your life. That's extra. So they cleaned up the scene, I guess, the best they could, child. Tariq ends up taking, they take a screenshot of the dude in the pool and ends up sending it to the person who's texting, the guy that killed, that was trying to kill Tariq. Tariq shows back up at the game, and Kane is looking like, what the fuck? Like, what is Tariq doing here? Because he just knew Tariq was dead. He just knew Tariq was dead, and he's like, what the hell is Tariq doing here? So Tariq answers the phone, and the dude, Kanan calls the person, and Tariq answers the phone. Now, you can't tell that the person you're talking to is inside of the game. You don't hear the people cheering. You don't realize they're in the same place you're in. And Kanan just says, yo, whoever this is, you're dead, basically. So now Tariq is looking at Monet like, yo, they just tried to set me up. Because, of course, why wouldn't he assume that Kanan was moving on orders from Monet? So now Tariq is really sitting there like, well, shit, I don't know who I can trust at this point. Monet done set me up. He done set me up. Everybody done set, Tariq ass up. So while all of this is going on, Elsie is waiting for Tariq at the dorm. Braden rolls up on them with his sister, and his sister identifies her as the one that sold him the coke. And she mad at Tariq, so she's telling all Tariq's business, right? She's just like, oh, well, you let Tariq know that we ain't in business no more, and this, that, and the other. And Braden was like, say, what? So you and Tariq have been the ones selling coke on campus all weekend? Mind you, Braden had asked Tariq, let's do it. And Tariq was like, hell nah, the block is too hot. We can't do that. So Braden pissed off at Tariq. Again, remember, Ghost and Tommy. So, basketball player, go to the club. He buying bottles and all of that. Because, of course, like I said, he had the best game of his life. He got his teammates with him. And one of his teammates happens to be Drew's man, right? Drew texting old boy wanting to hook up. He blows Drew off. Drew end up calling his cousin, finds out that they at the club, and he there with his teammates. And, of course, Drew figures that he there with old boy. He comes down to the club. Him and the boyfriend have a moment. Basically, Drew, once again, he is not publicly your boyfriend. He is only your boyfriend in private. You know that. You know the rule. You know the game. Stop it. He done already told you he's trying to get to the NBA, and he can't get to the NBA if people think he gay. That's just a fact of life. It is what it is. And he ain't trying to be nobody's poster boy. But they end up making up. They leaving the club. And who come rolling up on them? Now, Drew and the boyfriend sort of hung back. They having their own conversation. But the rest of the team is moving on. And the GTG crew then rolled up on Basketball Star, right? And, punches him, got him on the ground. The rest of his boys, he had a crew with him. So when the teammates tried to jump in, the crew sort of was holding him back. And Drew looks up and he sees the old boy like about, beating up on his cousin. So he runs up on him. He like, yo, what's going on? And of course, Drew recognizes who he is. And he was like, listen, your beef is not with him. Your beef is with us. Like, what's the issue? And he was like, nah. He said, my boy is dead. Like, y'all set me up. My boy is dead. And so I'm taking one of yours. You took one of mine, I'm taking one of yours. And so Drew was like, nah. If you gonna go for somebody, you go. He said, go ahead, shoot me. He was like, don't shoot him. He said, no, this gonna hurt Monet more than that. Like me shooting you ain't gonna hurt Monet as much as me shooting Basketball Star. Which is true, and I have yet to figure that out. Like, a part of me feels like this dude is really her son and not her nephew. I don't know. Something is weird with that whole dynamic, but whatever. Because she really does put this boy on a pedestal. Like, you cool with your own kids being drug dealers and not like you don't want them to go to college. You don't want them to do nothing else. You cool with that, but you want him to go to the NBA and save the whole family. Like, the logic just it's fucking lost on me. But anyway, so of course, everybody is looking at Drew and them, and Drew was like, you want to get back on, right? He was like, I tell you what, don't shoot me, and I got you. Like, we going to get you back on. And he was like, nah, nope. And he ends up putting a gun to Basketball Star's knee and goes to shoot him, and Drew runs in and knocks the gun. So Drew ends up beating dude's ass. Like, he beat his ass. To the point where Basketball Star had to stop him, like, yo, like, that's enough. But he didn't get shot. Like, you thought he got shot, but he didn't get shot. So he goes back to Monet, and of course, immediately Monet blames him. Monet was like, see, that's why you don't need to be hanging around up on campus. You running up, you being all thirsty, chasing behind your little boyfriend, and you almost put, what's his name, Tyrell? You didn't almost put Tyrell in danger. And Drew was like, trying to be like, I ain't do it. Like, what are you talking about? That's not what went down. But of course, Monet don't know that because Monet don't know the whole backstory with Kane and all that other stuff. So Drew rolls up on, he goes to the girlfriend house again, and this time the girlfriend is like, listen, he really ain't here this time. And he was like, yeah, okay, well, I tell you what, let him know that he a wanted man, and if I came here first, they gonna come here too. And so she immediately opens the door like, you ain't tell me you was using my house as no safe house. So Drew lets Kane know. Like, Drew is like, listen, Monet already know the deal, but I didn't snitch on you. But we need to go make this right. Like, you need to go handle it. Like, they tried to kill your family and they trying to kill you. You need to go take care of them. And he was like, yo, that's what I was getting ready to do. I'm on it. So Kane goes to the GTG crew like he really gonna kill him. But what he ends up doing is making a deal with them. Basically, he gonna go in business with them and split the profits 50-50. And he basically is, double crossing his family, I guess. Now, Tariq ended up calling his mother. I guess he finally finally needed to get it off his chest. He called his mother and let his mother know what was really going on. She ends up calling Monet's husband in jail, and he was like, yo, this ain't how it works. Like, you don't call me, I call you. And you don't call me for nothing. I call you when I need something. And she said, no, let me explain something to you. She said, my family is just as important as your family. And y'all coming for my son, if anything happens to my son, I promise you, I'm got you. Like something gonna happen to yours. Like, I'm not playing with my family. And he was like, well, what you talking about? And she was like, well, your son tried to kill, Monet put a hit on my son. Like, your son tried to kill my son. What's up? I thought we was good. I thought we had, had a deal. And of course, he didn't know nothing about it, so he calls Monet. So when Drew comes home, Monet lets Drew know, listen, I know what's up. Like, we know that Kanan put a hit out on Tariq. And she said, and I can appreciate the fact that you didn't snitch on your brother, but please understand, that's it. It's a wrap. Like, I've tried, I've done all I can do. But Drew was like, well, Kane is right now, he's gone to go handle it. He's gonna make it right. He's about to go, take them dudes out. And Monet was like, oh, that's cool, but please understand that's the last thing that he will ever do for this family. And of course, Drew was like, well, damn. So the next morning, Kane tries to come home like zippity doo-dah. And Diana was like, you can't come in the house. Like, you cut off. Like, it's a wrap. Like, Monet was like, you're done. It's a wrap. You are excommunicated. She gives him some money and tells him, be well. Like, that's all I got. And he was like, well, let me talk to her. And she was like, now, y'all know you already know that I don't have nothing to do with that. So as he's leaving, he looks up and he sees Monet standing in the window. And she closes the curtains on him and walks off, honey. So Tariq comes back to the dorm, and Braden is there, and Braden lets him know. He was like, listen, you lied to me. You know, I thought we was in this together. This whole situation with you selling coke, us selling coke. So you went behind my back. First of all, you lied to me about Elsie being here. Second of all, I found out that the two of y'all been selling coke all weekend, and you didn't cut me out of it. And Tariq was like, I was trying to protect you, this, and this, and this, and that. He was like, but we still in business together. And he was like, oh, no, we not. Oh, the business is over. It's a wrap. We ain't in business together. Again, Ghost and Tommy. Ghost and Tommy. So then 2-Bit then texted Tariq, letting Tariq know, you now owe me $50,000 for saving your life. Now, where the hell Tariq gonna get $50,000 from? I don't know. He gets a call from Monet to meet up with him. He got this badass Fendi coat on, and this. Let me tell you something. That coat is so bad. I love that coat. Like, I need Santa to bring me that coat for Christmas. Anyway, Monet says, listen, I get it. I understand that you think that I set you up, but I didn't. She said, let me explain something to you. Kanan was acting on his own. He was rogue. And he's been excommunicated from the family, but he is still my son. So let me be clear with you. If he comes for you and you defend yourself, you good. But if you go and you seek him out, we got a problem. I said, I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. And then, so she says, but I need you to understand. 1, tell your mama don't call my husband no more. That's a no-no. That's not happening again. 2, me and you are good. I didn't come for you. I don't have no issues with you. I don't have no beef with you. He said, all right, cool. Well, I need a re-up. She said, all right, I got you. Jabari, the reason why I said I feel like he heard course correct is because we see him struggling to finish this book, and he has downloaded the course correct app. So he knows that something dealing with Tariq and course correct, there's some sort of connection. So I guess it's only a matter of time before he order him a package and he get a package. Okay. Anyway, y'all, that's I think that's it. That's all. I'm not sure where we're going with. Listen. How many more episodes we got? I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.